what we call practicing Dhamma is really about studying and training and practicing in those various ways which nurture and foster our deeper understanding of what it means to do our duty as Dhamma practitioners. What is our duty as manusas, or human beings, or high-minded beings? What is the duty or responsibility with regard to developing right view? And understanding these various duties and responsibilities that we have arises based on much study and training and practice. And so this is something which we can do, and it's very much part of what we can call walking in the footsteps of the Buddha. What we are studying and training in about is how to summarize Dhamma practice, is that of binding ourselves up with and developing spiritual qualities. And this is of great benefit to ourselves and benefit to others. So we train and study what we call Dhamma. Now this word is a very important word to understand, and is one which is used a lot in this field, or this area of raising ourselves up to be manusas, or true human beings. The broadest meaning of Dhamma encompasses both that which is external and the material external world, and our own internal world in our minds. The external field, or the external realm, we could call the world, and this includes everything external, that which we call rupa dhammas, those things which are material matter. But these can be obstacles in our lives if we don't understand and relate correctly to the external material world. Wrong understanding with regard to the world and the external world can give rise to enmity, negativity, states of mind which we don't want. We call these the loka dhammas, the states of mind very much bound up with the way the world turns. And the mind bound up with the loka dhammas, this is a mind of delusion. And if our mind is deluded, then it will never be peaceful. Peace disappears, and brightness or light is obscured, and there's just darkness. So this is the way. This is not the way of a manusa, a high-minded being. Manusa means one who has a mind which is clean and pure, and a mind, a mood which is at ease. It gives rise to a sense of friendship and interconnectedness, interrelatedness with our fellow human beings. It's a mind which is far from being bound up with attachments. So this is what we have to study and practice and learn about. Our physical bodies are important too in terms of bodily health. Having a certain level of bodily health and strength is an important foundation for a peaceful mind. But we have this body, this fathom-long body, about a meter wide, and this is what we call, this is where our life and our bodily faculties gather. And this we should understand as well. The Buddha warned us and constantly encouraged us to reflect that as samanas, we should understand the passing of time. We chant the days and nights are relentlessly passing. So this body of ours, we can see very clearly, it's changing and deteriorating. You can see its phases, arising, remaining, and then passing away. No one has any special rights or privileges over the body or can control it. So we have to avoid this kind of deluded thinking. Deluded thinking is a mind which you can call micchaditi, wrong views, or mind bound up with unwholesome dhammas, which give rise to enmity, negativity. All of these states arise based on a strong sense of asmimana, the strong conceit I am. So this we have to abandon, and as a result the mind lets go and relaxes, abandoning desire and delighting. And so the mind moves away from stress and tension. And the reason it's important to be free from agitation, anger, stress and tension is because when these are present, there's no freedom. So what we have to do is develop a pure mind which leads to peace. We have to cultivate a clean mind and clean thoughts. Now the mind has no physical aspect, it doesn't manifest itself externally like the body. So we have to learn to see it inwardly, to catch it on time. And this we do training ourselves in sati sampajanya, mindfulness and clear comprehension. These are dhammas, these are qualities which the Buddha said are always of great use. If we live lives developing sati sampajanya, then we will see things and live our lives in a way where we're always able to deal with our mental states in the appropriate way. Anything which leads to dukkha, suffering, that we will learn to avoid and abandon. Anything that leads to letting go, anything that's not harmful, those things we will nurture. So we have mindfulness and clear comprehension, knowing what things to avoid because they're dangerous, and as a result the mind will be cool and peaceful. So this is our role, our duty, our task as manusas, as human beings or high-minded beings, is to really see clearly the mind and all our mental states. This leads to right view, samadhi, or panya, wisdom. What is right view? What is samadhi? These are views or ways of thinking, seeing the world, which lead us to relax and let go, i.e. lead us away from being bound up and attached. For example, seeing our body in this way. We can become free from our body if we no longer see a self in it. When we understand that the body is just the body, then even we stop distinguishing between male and female. In the world it's very clear, you're either one sex or another. But as Dhamma practitioners we learn to see the body in its natural state. That's in terms of elements, the 4 elements, water, air, fire, earth, or additional to the six elements, adding space element and consciousness element. We don't see any of this aspect of the mind and body as with a sense of self. This is me, this is mine. And as a result, biases and prejudices won't arise in the mind. We won't be seeing things like a putujana, an unenlightened person anymore. This is a mind which is low or untrained. Like all the other animals in the animal realm. They can't see things with right view. So in time we learn to see that cleansing the mind ultimately leads to true purity of mind, purity of bodily and mental action. We move away from being constantly tied up and pushed around by our sense cords or the objects of sense attachment. You could call this developing a strong immune system. Just in the same way that the body needs good food and gets benefit from the nourishment that good food provides, and as a result a body can be strong and have a good immune system so that diseases and germs can't affect the body. So too, all mental sicknesses, all mental suffering will also arise through our sense doors, these various media or communication channels we have, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. Many body sicknesses arise through the physical doors, our respiratory tract, things that germs which come in through the mouth and into our stomachs through food and other things, or our respiratory tract and our digestive system. These are ways that the body can get sick, but the mind, it's through contact with the outside world through the sense doors. So if we have mindfulness and clear comprehension, then we will have a good mental immune system. And so mental states such as agitation and things which don't lead to peace won't arise. We have to cultivate samwara, which means restraint to avoid things which are unwholesome and unbeneficial for our minds, just in the same way that we learn to avoid food which is dangerous for us. It's the same with the mind. So as Dhamma practitioners we see and contemplate the days and nights are relentlessly passing. How well am I spending my time? Today, how has my practice been? We have to reflect and review. Am I really clean and pure of mental and bodily conduct? And if we are, then our lives and the world will be cool and peaceful, and they won't give rise to, there won't be enmity. This leads to santi sukha, the happiness of peace, and the dhammas of liberation, states of mind of liberation arising in us. And this is all based on restraint. So we can improve our mental health using all these principles of Buddha Dhamma that we have laid down for us. And as a result, the mind will rise, it will be lofty. A lofty mind is one which is empty and free. It's cool because it's free from all dukkha. So we have to study and train in this way, train in the way of restraint. Adi Kalyana, beautiful in the beginning, means that which is clean, sila. Majja Kalyana, beautiful in the middle, this is a mind which is firmly established, samadhi. Pariyosana Kalyana, beautiful in the end, this is the mind liberated which sees with wisdom. So this is the good and beneficial way for us all to train and study. Sati sampajanya, mindfulness and clear comprehension, is something which is very important. This is what leads us to perfect and develop ourselves as human beings, as people who see the fear and danger in the samsaric round. It leads to being a person who is awake and holy. And these states of awakeness and purity arise based on sati sampajanya, which is of great benefit. We have to know in life what is beneficial. We've all shared the same experience where there have been people in our lives who have helped us along the way. If we were to ask ourselves, who has truly been of benefit to me in my life, we would all say, first and foremost, our mother and father. How did they help us? They helped us to grow in strength and in safety. Mother and father doing their natural role, that of being a parent, giving up so much, sacrificing so much, with so much metta, and never thinking of what it was, the cost to themselves, or thinking of their own comforts. So this quality of metta arises naturally in a mother and father as the natural duty of a parent, and as a result we grow and prosper. So mother and father have done great things, have supported us very much, so we say they are people of great benefit, upakara dhamma. So we have to see sati sampajanya in the same way. Sati sampajanya are things which are of great benefit to us. So when should we cultivate mindfulness and clear comprehension? We have to have them in all four postures, whether standing, walking, seated, or lying down. Because in any of these four postures, states of mind which we call the worldly dhammas, these unwholesome states can arise. So we have to see in a very, we have to observe our minds in a very circumspect way, so that these states of mind which are unwholesome, the worldly dhammas, don't overpower us. The Buddha understood and fully knew the nature of the mind. He said, and how he taught was teaching the Four Noble Truths, was that dukkha should be fully known. But it's not only important to fully understand dukkha, we should also understand the nature of delight and desire, and see how these things obscure and bind the mind up. When the mind is bound up with delight, there's no freedom. And it's like a fire. It's like the mind is on fire with the fire of desire. So we could say that delight or pleasure is one aspect of happiness. It's bound up with happiness to a certain extent, but it's also bound up with dukkha. So we have to know and understand delight and desire, know its nature, so that we don't get lost and infatuated with it. Just see desire as a mood. It's certain thoughts, feelings which arise in the mind. See desire and pleasure like something that's just temporarily visiting the mind. Like in the same way that sitting here we might see a friend or a relative come to visit us, we'd know it's just somebody come to visit us. And see it also very clearly seeing delighting and desire as something which gives rise to infatuation. These things will never lead to freedom. So in Dhamma we learn to understand opposite pairs, sukha and dukkha, happiness and suffering, and darkness and light, for example. So we have to bring constantly to recollection that there may often be moods and thoughts which arise which we don't like. Like, for example, dukkha. If dukkha, suffering, arises, usually the accompanying thought is, I don't want that, I don't like that, that doesn't please me. But if we just see dukkha as nature, natural phenomena, then we can be free from it. Dukkha and sukha just arises, remains for a while, and then goes away. Just like a fire, which if we don't add fuel to it, will eventually die down and grow cool and then finally go out completely. The mind, in this way, will let go, will learn how to let go of upadana, which is craving or clinging, and will no longer be so much bound up with the power of self-importance and self-view. A mind which is peaceful, a heart which is sabai, that means at ease, will feel cool, and anything that feels cool is naturally pleasurable. And this inner peace, this inner happiness, is what you could call the eternal happiness, or the incomparable happiness. The Buddha said, Nati santi parang sukham. There's no happiness comparable to that of peace. So we have to find happiness in every posture. Whatever posture we're in, then will be one who has this quality or this faculty of sukhato, one who is going well. And then life will always be good. There'll be no danger, there'll be no harm in life, because we always have mindfulness and clear comprehension, and we'll see things in line with reality. We'll be people who see things in line with the law of truth, or satya, the satya Dhamma. We'll understand the universal characteristics of all phenomena, that everything is transient, that everything is ultimately in some way unsatisfactory, and that no self, anatta, can be found in the process. And that way we avoid any thoughts which could be poisonous or dangerous for us. The Buddha attained enlightenment by seeing and understanding the world and rise above it. So, seeing the world doesn't mean just like looking at it with our eyes. The eye, what we call the mansa jakku, the fleshy eye or the physical eye, is a limited organ because it needs light in order to see, sunlight or light to turn on. So it's limited in that without light it can't function, you're blind straight away. What we mean by seeing in line with truth is seeing with the mind, understanding the true nature of the sankharas, all the conditioned phenomena of the mind and body. Seeing that everything that we can experience as sankhara is conditioned, it's dependent on something as a cause and a condition, and thus it's not perfect in and of itself. Sankharas are like a child. A child always needs the help of a parent or somebody else. So we have, with mindfulness then, we understand this process of conditioned phenomena arising, and we'll see that our own moods constantly swinging between delight and aversion, happiness and suffering, what we want and what we don't want. So this is why we have to develop a strong mental immune system with every posture. We have to have patient endurance, khanti. Patient endurance is a quality which makes us beautiful, because the mind will be strong and firm, and we won't always just follow our own moods and desires and preferences. So the mind doesn't fall into states which are unwholesome or agitation or being hot and bothered. With mindfulness and clear comprehension, we will be able to patiently endure all kinds of mental proliferation, because otherwise we'll always be lost in things like delight, and then our life won't be smooth. We have to learn how to let go, and this is the job of training ourselves. we see more and more clearly that everything arises must pass away, just like the famous saying, Ye Dhamma Hetu Pabhava, that all, whatever Dhammas have arisen because of a cause, we'll understand this process of this causal process. And when we see the world like this as a causal process, then the strength, the power that the world has over us will fade. It's just like, imagine a theatre production or a soap opera. If people stop watching it, then it naturally has to end, or the production will close, because nobody's encouraging and supporting it anymore. So that sense of being one who knows, that clarity will arise with mindfulness and clear comprehension. The Buddha taught us to understand Sankata Dhammas, those Dhammas which are conditioned, and then finally realizing a mind which is Asankata Dhamma, the unconditioned mind. Sankata Dhammas, the conditioned mental states, these are mental states of proliferation. They can be wholesome or unwholesome, punyavi sankharas or apunyavi sankharas. And as long as we're constantly under the sway of these mental states, then we're not still fully developed as manusas. But when the mind is unconditioned, then there's no longer anything obscuring the mind. Everything in the mind is pure, and all thoughts will be beneficial, because purity is something which is universally beneficial. A pure mind is simply natural phenomena arising and passing away. And so we experience the world free from prejudice. This is the complete perfection of a human being, a manusa, and this is liberation, vimokkha. So asankata Dhamma means a mind which is no longer proliferating. There's no longer even any male or female. The mind is cool, and whatever's cool is happy. So our happiness that we're seeking lies right here within the state, within our human state, which all of us have. The state of being a human being is our own inbuilt natural resource. Just like in the earth, all these natural resources that we find, minerals, trees, crops, they're useful and beneficial because we know how to use them. We can make food and clothing and everything else. Being a manusa means that we have within us all the resources and the tools to make us complete human beings. The enlightenment factors are not found anywhere else outside of us. They will arise within us based on our own effort and energy, and the application to practice, training body, speech and mind. So this is the process of becoming a manusa. We have to practice with great caution and all-round circumspection. So may all of us here, all of you intent on practicing, see that we have an internal treasure trove which we can use and exploit and develop in Patipati Puja, make the true offerings, make our lives an offering of Dhamma practice, and practice in a way where not only will the fruits manifest for ourselves, but we can spread and share them with others. Practice to realize the Arya Dhammas, the noble truths.